While you're preparing for the A+ certification, it is very important that you lab as much as you possibly can. And here's why. How to gain technical skills to land your first IT interview. This is just my perspective and my process that I used to land my first interview, and it also includes a lot of information with regards to how to approach your interview, some of the questions you might get in IT interviews, with regard to the perspective changing aspect, the experience that I went through with regards to the process and up to the final interview, right? If you want detailed gems and information on this topic, I would highly suggest you check out Kev Tech IT Support channel here on YouTube, right? He has a lot of gems on there. It seems like a lot of people are they're getting somewhere with his content, with his information, as far as landing IT jobs, as far as the whole process in general, because I think that this is all about the process and all about the upfront work that has to be done before you can land an interview and then go on to actually landing a job. This video was inspired by a comment thread on one of my most popular videos. And the first comment went like this: it's useless if you don't have experience. I've been A+ certified for 10 years. After a year of searching for work, it's better to have a degree. So yeah, I totally agree with the aspect of not having any experience. If you don't have any experience, a lot of these jobs don't want to hire you, right? A lot of them don't even want to interview you. But again, this video is more so about getting your foot into the door, meaning having someone call you and set up an interview. I think the focus should be placed on building your technical skills and emphasizing any soft skills that you have on your resume. Because at the end of the day, you got to think about the fact that these IT companies, they're businesses based on a business model. And these business models, more so than not, are predicated on our ability to interact with the customer in a way that's productive. We have to interface with them in such a way that emphasizes soft skills and emotional intelligence. And then you have to be able to apply your technical skills in a productive capacity. I want you to think of technical skills plus application plus soft skills and emotional intelligence as experience. At least that's how I think of it, because I have a background in 10+ years worth of soft skills development, leadership development. My soft skills and emotional intelligence skills outweigh my technical skills. I think that's one of the things that helped me to land a series of interviews. I don't know if I got the job yet. We'll see. Hopefully I did. These interviews they were a win, because I'm like, okay, my resume is reflecting that of a person who is building up qualifications, credentials, experience in an IT capacity that can be useful for an IT role, right? Again, soft skills, emotional intelligence, technical skills, and technical application. Think of technical skills as just pressing buttons, moving your mouse around and clicking in order to get a certain mechanical or technological outcome, right? But the application of those skills, the soft skills you're using as a vehicle to deliver those skills, are so important. They're so much more important than just the technical skills alone. So it may sound like kind of like a contradiction, but it really isn't. And over here in the Western world, we like to think of things in such a very discrete, atomized way that we focus on one thing and leave out the others. A lot of us are focusing on just getting the certifications and sitting back and waiting for someone to call us. But when you get the certifications, you also have to emphasize the technical skills that were certified. You also have to emphasize your customer service skills if you're applying for a customer service related type of job that deals with tech support. And again, I don't know all of you experience. Again, I'm just giving my perspective on it. I made sure in being in customer service for 10 years with about 9 years of soft skills development, and no, it's way over 10 years I've been in customer service, but the most prominent years of my professional experience has been spent in deployment of soft skills, especially within a leadership capacity. When you're working as a leader, you really learn how people work, what motivates them, what makes them tick, what makes them angry, what makes them happy, what motivates them in a work capacity and a productive capacity. Like, you learn so much. I'm taking those skills and bringing them into the IT world, because I do see myself as an IT leader at some point. I think I'm a natural born leader to some capacity. So I want to bring that into this world. And I think that's what's helped me on my interview. Technical skills, which we're going to address, application of those technical skills, and using soft skills as a vehicle to deliver a service. Because remember, these are businesses. They're not schools, or they're not just some place that's just gonna give you money and whatever, right? And I also want to emphasize this. The soft skills aspect of it is so important, because I think there's a certain degree of DNA that comes into play when you're talking about a person that you want to come work for your company, right? Meaning you want that person to naturally be drawn to people, because if they're naturally drawn to people and they're more interested in people, they're gonna be able to service the customer in a way that a person who's not naturally drawn to people, a person who doesn't like people, can deliver the service. Like, they're not gonna be able to deliver the service as well as somebody who has the soft skills, right? So that's another aspect. And a person who is interested in people, they're more than likely gonna be able to help them, right? So let me give you an example. Say you're answering some type of call on the help desk or something like that. And I'm just making this up because I never worked in help desk before, but I've been in customer service so long and worked with people so long that this is something that spans all industries. So a customer calls you up, or a person comes up to you with a problem. You don't know the answer to that problem. What are you going to do? Are you going to, a lot of us IT people might think, figure that problem out, I'm gonna solve that problem. You don't know the answer to the problem. You know you don't know the answer to the problem. Of course you're gonna try to figure it out, but you gotta understand that there's a person standing there. There's a person on the phone. You don't know the answer to it. How are you gonna respond to it? How are you gonna respond to that person who is on a schedule? We all know what we know, and we know what we don't know. A lot of us don't know what we don't know. But again, that's another aspect of the culture the tech world is about, right? You have to be humble enough to admit that you don't know something. And then you have to be humble enough to say, you know what, ma'am, sir, however they want to be addressed, I don't know the answer to that. I'll ask a colleague and I'll get back to you. Or you can escalate it to somebody who actually knows how to solve that particular problem, especially if it's something that's very complicated. Because you don't want to waste company resources fooling around and then you still don't solve the problem, right? So that's basically the I would say what you should really focus on when it comes to setting up your resume in such a way that attracts an interviewer, right? My response to the first comment was, I agree with having experience. That's where labbing comes into play, and self-learning, and I think that's big for this field. But then again, everyone's experience is different. If I could do it all over again, I would skip degrees and get certifications. The reason why I say if I can do it all over again, I would skip degrees and get certifications, that's just me being human. A lot of us humans think that if we had time to go back, if we had the technology to go back in time, we can change something to elicit some sort of outcome in the present moment, in the future, right? And it just doesn't work that way, right? But the reason why I said that I would get certs is because certifications allow for you to stay up to date on current technologies. Be familiar with these current technologies. And this is important for businesses because businesses need to run on current technologies for security reasons, at least. That's my opinion, right? I don't think many companies will try to, I don't know, you guys that's in the security field that come across this video, you could tell me, but I don't think there's many companies that want to run on Windows XP in 2022. That's probably not a great idea. The certifications allow for you to stay up to date on current technologies, and it makes you more marketable to companies that use those technologies. Where does this come in with the whole experience and technical skills and stuff? When you're getting certifications, don't think of them as you would a degree. A degree allows for you to take exams, fail the exams sometime, maybe you have a bad score here and there, then you can have some homework assignments that'll make up for your grade. You do this on a per class basis until you get your degree. Now, honestly, how rigorous is that process? How rigorous is getting a degree compared to a certification? I can tell you from experience, studying for the CCNA, it's a lot of material, and I have to learn all of this material within a specific time frame so that I don't forget the material and then take the exam as soon as possible so that I can remember that material and pass the exam. With a college degree, you can take your time getting that degree. You can simply say, I'll take 3 classes this semester, 2 classes next semester. Like, you can be a little bit more lenient with how you approach your degree, again, depending on what school you go to, right? So I would say that certifications have more integrity as far as the knowledge that you're being certified on, because with the certification, you have to learn and depending on the certification, you have to learn the material within a specific time frame so that you don't have this drop off in memory and drop off in learning, right? You can't dilly-dally and pussyfoot around, because you're gonna forget the material and you're not gonna be able to pass the exam. So certifications are, in my opinion, they're more rigorous. And even when you get certified, you have to recertify. You know, in comparison to a degree, I've had a psychology degree since a while now, and I don't have to recertify. I don't have to re-degree in psychology. I've had an engineering degree for quite some time now. I don't have to re-degree in engineering, but with certifications, you have to recertify. Again, staying up to date with the current technologies, which makes you marketable to businesses that are using those technologies or plan to use those technologies, or maybe they service a client that uses those technologies. That's within the concept, the context of an MSP, managed service provider. Might have a client that uses Cisco, Juniper, whatever, and Cisco is 51% market share right now of I guess enterprises of the whole world or whatever. They call it the backbone of the internet, I believe. If you're certified in Cisco, you're certified in CCNA or whatever, and a managed service provider sees that, they know, okay, this person has a current certification. They're more than likely up to date on the current Cisco technologies, and we have a client that uses those technologies. That's where the value is created. Whereas a degree, I don't know, maybe a degree in computer science might help you depending on how long ago you've gotten that degree. I don't know. I just think certifications are the better choice. And even moving beyond that, when you're certifying, and I'm going to stress this in my next point, you are ideally not just learning the material and going to go take an exam and become a paper A+ certified technician, or a paper CCNA, or a paper CCNP. You're probably getting the equipment, putting investments into your learning, and actually learning the material, learning how to use these devices, learning how to use the hardware, learning how to configure. You can put those skills on your resume as you're certifying. And even when you become certified, it makes those skills, it makes those, your statement of those skills on your resume official. It makes it more trustworthy. Okay, this person got an A+ and AWS, CCNA, all these certifications, and then all these skills on there gives the interviewer, the employer, whoever, an idea of how can we utilize this person. And then also it tells them how much they got to pay you, right? I started looking up the salaries for CCNA certified people, CCNP, CCIE, they're gonna have to pay you. You get that right certification with the right amount of skills, they're gonna have to pay you. Some companies, they might not be able to afford you, and that's where you might have to create your own business or go work for a really big company that can actually afford you, right? So that's my perspective on the degree versus cert side of this comment thread conversation, right? The next comment said, I've been searching, I don't have A+ cert yet, and I agree with the experience. Literally all entry-level IT jobs I've seen requires A+ and 2 years of work experience. Entry-level jobs. If it isn't that combination, it is asking for Bachelor of Science in Computer Science / Engineering, and plus 1 year of work experience. I'm still going to try to get my A+ and CCNA, and hopefully with my AS degrees, that will help me land a job sometime this year. Well, I don't know what this person has their AS degrees in, but I have an AS degree in engineering, right? And that helps That helped me a lot from a technical standpoint, a skill standpoint. I still have that engineering mathematical mindset. Maybe that's DNA, I don't know. But yeah, and this is where I'm kind of like now starting to zone in to the importance of labbing, right? This person says that they don't have an A+ certification yet, right? And they agree with the person that's talking about having experience is important. Okay, so while you're preparing for the A+ certification, it is very important that you lab as much as you possibly can. And here's why. The A+ certification provides an opportunity for you to find out what you're curious about, what you're genuinely curious about, and what you genuinely want to pursue. Because A+ certification it's in my opinion, it's broad, and it also sets you up for specialization. And I don't think anybody wants to spend 20 years doing help desk support, right? Not that it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. A+ certification allows for you to look at the topics and kind of figure out what direction you want to take in your IT journey. For me personally, and an interviewer asked me this question, I went into the network engineering side of things. And then he asked me why I chose that. And I explained it to him. Because of course, on the video interview, he saw all of my equipment in the back. I used pretty much the same angle when I was interviewing. And he saw my equipment in the back and he said, tell me about your Cisco lab. And, oh, so you got Cisco lab. Tell me about your Cisco lab. And then I started talking about it for like maybe, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. And that's a lot. I don't know if that was a bad thing or not on the interview, but it was something that I was able to really show specialization in. That's what the A+ allows for you to do, allows for you to pick something. Even more importantly, again, and I spoke about this in the previous point, A+ allows for you to lab on many different technologies. And here's my reply to this person's reply. Here's what I've found worked for me, and I'll make an extensive video on this. Get your A+ while labbing. This is that video, right? What do I mean by labbing? Get some equipment that you're genuinely curious about while studying for the CompTIA A+. For example, while I was studying for the CompTIA A+, I learned about RAM replacement, so I bought some aftermarket RAM and upgraded my old MacBook Pro 2012 while following along a YouTube tutorial on how to do it. You can do something similar. So to stop right there for a second, when I was studying for the A+ certification, I watched a bunch of Luke Miani videos because he's like one of the most Apple boys that I've ever come across on YouTube, right? So I'm watching Luke's videos on how he's taking apart these Apple products, he's fixing them up, replacing components, and I spent maybe like an hour, 2 hours watching his videos, and then I said, I'm studying for the A+ certification right now. These are great videos to be watching, but I need to do some hands-on of my own. I ended up buying some RAM off of, I believe it was Amazon, for my trusty, you can probably see my MacBook Pro in the back right there. And I installed 16 gigabytes of RAM, upgraded it from 4 gigs to 16 gigs, and my computer was humming. It was moving quicker, much quicker than it was before. And I felt confident in my ability to upgrade someone's computer so that their applications will open, right? Maybe you'll get a complaint that somebody's applications is not open and I don't know if this is a thing, but it might be RAM. You might need to replace the RAM, and that's something that you're gonna learn on A+. That's a skill that you can put on your resume, RAM replacement or basic break and fix or basic computer maintenance, right? Things like that. And this is where the experience comes in, because you're applying technical skills to your own projects in your labs, and then you can probably get confident with helping other people. These people might be people in your community. You might want to volunteer at a church and hook up their network or fix their old ass printer. A+ loves their printers. You could fix their old ass desktop, maybe upgrade from Windows XP. You know, people at church, I don't think they have like an IT department. You could go walk into a church and say, hey, look, introduce yourself. Hi, nice to meet you, yada, yada, yada. Do you have any computers in here that you need to get fixed? I'll fix it for free because I'm studying for my A+ certification or whatever certification you're studying for. And I would like to provide certain services to you for free and so that I can gain experience. Now, the thing is, you want to reassure them that you're not going to destroy their network, you're not going to destroy their computers or something like that, or go to a mom and pop shop. But ideally, if that person is using Windows XP and old printers and old stuff, whatever, they may or may not take the risk with you because they may or may not have an extensive bottomless wallet to hire IT people that's going to charge them a premium to do the services that they need. They might not be able to afford it. So you go in there with good intentions, again, good intentions and good faith, and say, hey, look, I know this. It's not like you don't want to play around. Again, you want to do things in your lab, do things in your stuff, and then ask them what kind of services they need and see if you can help them out. Again, that's just something that you can use as a way to get the experience to help to make yourself a candidate for an employer, right? And I think a lot of people don't think outside the box like this. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But you can actually do this, and you might want to do them for organizations. Get references from these organizations so that they can verify that you know them. And I think that's a great way to gain technical skills, the application, and the overall experience. Soft skills. You're gonna need the soft skills to walk up to somebody and broker a deal with them and say, hey, look, it looks like your computers are old, and it looks like, do you have an IT department? You don't have an IT department? Let me help you out. You gotta have the soft skills to be able to start those type of conversations. You get what I'm saying? And you could tell these stories in the interviews, and it shows, oh, this person has people skills. This person has grit, ambition, determination. All of these things matter. All of these things matter. It's not just how many buttons you could press in a short period of time to get the outcome that you want, right? So yeah, back to my comment. For example, in the CompTIA A+, you'll learn about how to install hypervisors and virtual machines on top of VirtualBox, right? You guys that studying A+, y'all know what hypervisors are, right? And if you've read through all the material, which I hope you did, read through those books for A+, and this is mainly on the software side, you're gonna come across a chapter, I forgot which chapter it was, but the chapter is gonna walk you through how to install Oracle VirtualBox, and you can do it on your computer. I took the risk and did it on my computer here, the MacBook, poor MacBook. That was the only computer I had at the time. I only had the MacBook Pro, and I was taking a chance with all of these things I was doing. The RAM installation, the installing a VirtualBox. I had no idea what it was or what it would do to my computer. I've never heard of VirtualBox before, but I took the risk. And again, risk taking. Gotta be taking these risks. I said, get a computer, install VirtualBox, get some free Linux iOS files, and install it. When you're successful, guess what? Congrats, you've just acquired the skill of VM installation. VM installation is not that complicated when you're doing it on a basic level. You're familiar with it. Again, you want to sell yourself in a future interview on your resume that you've done these things. And these are skills. These are actually skills that you're developing. I want to be network engineering / cybersec, so I've been studying for the CCNA. I bought a lab and started acquiring the skills myself. As I've acquired the skills during my CCNA studies and even the CompTIA A+, I've been adding them one by one until I started getting jobs calling me to interview. As a matter of fact, I just finished a third interview with a company with no experience in IT except for my A+ and technical skills I've been building on my own. Hopefully I get the job, but I'm getting somewhere and you can do it too. It's not that easy. It's not easy, that's for sure. But put in the work and see what happens. And I also recommended KevTech IT support here on YouTube, right? So I bring up an important point. I talk about getting the skills as you're going along, and then you keep on updating your resume. You keep on updating your resume, and then eventually you start to get some calls. You get some calls from jobs, and they can interview. Whether you get the job or not, you should be happy that you're doing something right. You looked at your resume. You see, okay, I'm putting these skills on here, and I started getting calls. Let me do more of that. Or let me tweak my resume a little bit. Let me shift certain things around on my resume so that I can emphasize certain aspects according to what the interviewer was asking. Maybe you needed to emphasize your needed skills more. Maybe you needed to emphasize more of your tech skills. I don't know, but that's for you to experience and adjust as you go along, right? So that's pretty much my perspective on this. You just have to decide that this is what you want to do, and you have to make it work. This is developing your schema of how to progress through the IT world. You're gonna learn as you go along, but you can't give up, because once you give up, you're not gonna go anywhere. You just wasted all that time, and you're not learning anything new. You're not learning how to adjust to problems that you face. It's hard. It's supposed to be difficult. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be you take a certification and you go work for a company. That's not practical. The reason why that's not practical is you need to be able to prove that you have the skills that you're certified for. And again, the best way to do that is through developing your technical skills through labbing, and to also again know how to work with people. Develop yourself in a very holistic fashion. You want it to be, you got great technical skills, but you're a great person to talk to as well. People, you want it so that people don't want to get off the phone with you, right? But I made this video way too long. Like I said, it's a complicated topic. If you want more tips like this, or you want to check out any of my other playlists, click right here, and I'll talk to you guys next time.